This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I am Mitch English. We're welcoming you to Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's friends for this Friday.
And we love to make you a big
Yes,
part
we
of our
do.
show. The guy that can make that happen, Sweet Baby James.
SBJ.
Yes, 219 stations and counting. Let me lift my glasses
219.
up. 219
Yeah.
stations.
Don't
and
forget that
counting.
one station, James.
You can find us across the country. And if you go to our American Forces Network, you can find us across the globe. You can also check out on our socials, our streaming platforms, and go to our website at dailyflashshow.com and click on where to watch and find out where we are in your neck of the woods. And if you want to leave me a little message, click on sound off. Now, I want to hear your sound off because I have the question of the day.
Okay.
Would you rather be famous or completely unknown, and why?
All right. Well, obviously, I think the answer to that is what you're looking at right now. I always wanted to be famous.
All right.
Never got there, but I enjoy doing what I do. So I would say,
Okay.
yeah, I would
You
say
wanna
the
be
former
famous?
is the latter.
Okay.
There's days I want to be the latter, but no.
Yeah, I can't say that I got into this business for being famous, so I like the relative anonymity that a certain lifestyle can bring you. That's a tough question because I feel like
You know what I know when people say that on TV? Because I think everybody thinks the way I am, and I'm very arrogant.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, well, then, if you want, in television news, you always get, I didn't get into this to be famous. I wanted people to know.
Yeah,
And then,
I
then go and
know.
be a newspaper reporter
I
where
know.
nobody knows you. And I didn't mean that towards you or anything.
Right.
But I think there was part of it,
You're
right?
right, you're right.
It's kind of like this. When you hear news, you want to get on social media and be the
Right.
first one to tell everybody.
Yes,
That's
yes.
kind of how I feel like as far as
Okay.
television news goes.
But I can appreciate the anonymity of it because
Yeah.
I don't think you appreciate it until it's gone, and just having a little bit of experience with that
Okay.
can be terrifying.
Okay.
But this is fun. I love being with you guys. I
100%.
love doing this kind of thing. But to be famous, and also fame is so fleeting. It is true. There's about 15 minutes of it, and there are a few people that maybe get a little bit longer. But it goes in waves. So
Right.
you're always subject to the likes and the dislikes. So if you believe in the likes and the loves, then you also have to equally believe in the hates and the don't likes.
If
Right.
you enjoy, getting the nice table because
That's
somebody knows who you are.
So
Yes.
that's where it is.
That is true.
That's me.
But it's on the other end. You
me.
got to take the hate mail and
Yeah.
the people coming up to you and telling you you're too fat to be on TV
I-
and stuff like
And
that.
that's
I'm the
it.
perfect baby between you two. I like the perks of being famous.
We had fun creating.
I
We
know,
did.
I know,
It
right?
was
I
great.
know, it was a hell of a night.
We went to that Longwood Fertility Clinic. I don't know if you're familiar with it. They just shut down, by the way.
Hey, I hope you got some money for it.
Where were you at, James? I'm sorry.
No. I like the perks of being famous.
Yes.
But the anonymity of just being able to go somewhere without people recognizing who
Yeah.
you are.
I admire our
Yeah.
director Keegan. He was actually on a 1990s television show. He played 3 episodes in Family Matters. And he
Family Matters?
Yeah,
Oh.
he never let it go to his head.
I thought you was going to say like 18.
That's what I should have said. That's what I should have said. love Keegan.
Keegan was
God,
at
I love
18.
I thought he was
That's
a barista
space.
on Friends.
He was a barista on Friends for a little while. Very well-rounded actor.
I do think, though, there's a great point in that it does give you a little bit more access to other things, and sometimes it does get you to the front of the line,
Yeah.
and so there are some advantages of having some name recognition.
When my kids, one time we went to Disney World, and it was just as a family, hey, we're just going to go. And literally they go, well, do we have to wait in the lines? And I'm like, well, yeah. When
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. You don't want to go to Disney World because you have to wait in line?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get used
They
to
got
it.
very
They got
used
used
to
to
it.
it. Mine's the same way. They got used to it. It's like we just walk to the front.
Well, the same with getting advanced screenings
Yeah.
and getting
There's
to
two,
see
yeah.
movies ahead of time. There are certain things that this job gives you the privilege
Never
to.
going to give that up.
No, exactly. But I will say, you and I have worked together for a number of years, and we've done shows at Disney, and we've gotten the
It's so great.
the VIP treatment at Disney, which
Yep.
it's almost like flying first class. Once you
Behind
fly,
the scenes.
fly first,
Yeah.
you don't want to sit and coach.
Yep.
You go to Disney and you get that VIP treatment.
Totally different.
I tell you what,
They
it
do
is
it-
a
they know how to do
whole
it.
different
Yeah.
experience
They know
at
how
the
to do
park.
it.
Yeah.
You know, do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Good question, James. How can people respond?
Hey, just go to dailyflashshow.com and, or email me at flash@dailyflashshow.com.
You are our VIP, so
love that.
we want you to be a part of the show.
Is famous being worth it? Yeah, a lot of times you might say something, people are like, oh, well then I'm sure he's left wing or I'm sure he's
Yep.
right wing.
This is
Yeah.
true. Actor Vince Vaughn recently making headlines for his take on why late night TV has fallen off a cliff. Take a listen.
The podcasts have gotten so much more popular with less production, less writers, less staff. And the reason why
we have two
is,
people working here, and both of them are hungover. That one guy has shingles.
but the place is clean. I like that. You keep a clean place.
Thank you. Yeah, we did a vacuum.
But yeah, because people want authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think that the talk shows, to a large part, became really agenda based.
Yeah.
They were going to evangelical people to what they thought. You know what I mean? And so people just rejected it because it didn't feel authentic. It felt like they had an agenda. It stopped being funny, and it started feeling like I was in a class I didn't want to take. But if you look at what happened to the talk shows and why their ratings are low, it's got only to do with the fact of what you just said, which is they all became the same show.
I think you make some terrific points there. I agree with him 100%.
It's gutsy to do that too, to go after. Let's just say, I mean, we could say left side. Left side.
Yeah.
Hollywood is left side, no doubt about it. Wherever you're at with that, that's fine. But for him to say that, sometimes you get blacklisted. He's got a new show out, by the way, on I think on Netflix right now. So it's probably why it's doing it. You haven't seen it?
Yeah, it's okay. We're looking at Jimmy Kimmel right now because Kimmel was recently making fun of blue-collar Americans insulting a senator who took over his family's plumbing business before getting into politics. We're talking about Senator Markwayne Mullin. And so I think this speaks to the reason why so many people have disdain for late night, because you're excluding 50% of the audience for some sort of elitist opinion that you may or may not have. Now, what's interesting is they may have an argument here because 99% of the guests they have on their show are left-wing.
Okay, now that's not just you saying that.
No,
right?
this is fact. This is research that's been
I-
done
and
by a
I
number of
believe
people.
this, sure.
They also say late night viewers tend to lean more Democrat, so there could be a reason why they're pandering to this audience. However, late nights become more radical, and 92% of the jokes that they do on these shows target conservatives. And if they've had the rare conservative guest on their show, they're usually a punching bag for some kind of bit.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that one thing that Johnny Carson, who without a doubt is the king of late night, he stayed away from politics.
Yes. Right.
And even, I know it was a different time, but when people, from my understanding, from what I've learned from doing some, and I've seen many shows and documentaries based off of it, is that they don't do politics on my show. And he had control of it.
Yeah, I would say you're spot on. Politics are a divisive issue of anywhere, right? So when you're looking at late night, and I'm going to go back to what Vince said too, the landscape has changed anyway. Podcasts are jumping and taking over late night anyway. And when you move to politics, when you alienate part of your audience, you're not funny. It's just becoming a monotonous type of situation. You know what? Guess what? YouTube, podcast, and
Well, you're pushing people there.
Right,
Yeah.
but you're in a spot where the podcast can speak freely, because on a network television, you can't say what you want to say.
Two things I say about this is that now cable news is actually going toward the comedy. So there really is a meshing between talk shows and news shows, right? You're seeing that, and they're actually seeing a lot of success. Matter of fact, I believe the number one of the top rated shows is Gutfeld, which is a conservative, which it tells you that there is an audience for this, right? Which and then also continue on.
No, I was going to say more people are turning into Gutfeld on certain nights than all three of these late night shows combined. And if that doesn't tell you something, and to me it's like, well, there's obviously a market and an audience for this, so why are the networks so bent on making sure that every guest and everything that they do on their show leans extreme left?
And you appreciate, I was watching, I can't remember which one, but when they made fun of Biden, it blew, like, wow, but I mean, his jokes wrote himself. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He was doing stuff that was just like, come on, right? But that was, even in sometimes, and there was a thin line when Obama was president as well, they would kind of make fun, but it was just like easy stuff, low-hanging fruit kind of sort of thing.
Honestly,
the other way, the right side.
Honestly, I think that we're in a situation in this country where everybody is afraid to say or speak or just joke. Like it's so PC
right.
that
Yeah.
everybody's up in arms. So I think stop being funny. So
Did
don't
y'all
watch it.
have
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn making the best point on Democrat on your bingo card?
No,
I love
definitely
it.
not. But I'm grateful for him. for
Absolutely.
doing that. Yeah.
It takes something like him
Yeah.
to stand up. We want to hear it. You think? Flash at dailyflashshow.com. We have got more coming up here on Daily Flash.
Here is our brain flash question. What is the name of the island in Jurassic Park?
Woo!
Yeah, that answer coming up next.
All right, we're also going to be talking about how AI might be affecting white-collar jobs and even your home.
On 9:20 a.m.
It's not news. It's not nonsense. It's that weird place in between. Opinion-ish. Coming soon.
Hey, welcome back to the big show. Let's see if you got today's brain flash question correct. Here's the question. What is the name of the island in Jurassic Park? Isla Nublar. There you go. James actually knew that one. He yelled it out right in the commercial break. Hey, welcome back to the big show. Mitch English here. And, as AI reshapes the workforce, a major ripple effect is actually unfolding, and not just in jobs, but in housing markets all across the country. Here with some insight is Tatiana Zogorovsky. She's with Trio Realty Partners to give us a little bit of an insight on all of this. How does this AI, Tatiana, AI job loss, actually, how is it impacting housing?
Hey, Mitch, happy to be here. AI job loss impacts housing through income, like any other job loss. When stable paychecks disappear, fewer people can qualify for loans, and some households start to struggle with payments. So that creates a chain reaction, weaker demand, more caution from lenders, and eventually more pressure on prices.
It makes a lot of sense. There's something called a housing freeze. What is that? Tell me more about, this freeze that could actually affect the United States.
Well, a housing freeze is early stage before we can see the real distress in the housing markets, because when we see massive layoffs, it doesn't impact the real estate market immediately. It will take probably between 6 to 18 months to see the real impact on real estate, because immediately after huge job losses, people still continue making their payments, but slowly but surely, less people will be qualified for mortgages, so lenders will become more cautious, less people will be able to afford loans, the demand for housing will drop, and that's how the freeze works.
It makes a lot of sense there. Generally we always talk about blue collar jobs and how they're at risk, but this specifically talking about white collar jobs, why are they so critical?
Because white collar jobs are traditionally the most stable borrowers, and people who buy more high end homes. And now with AI coming to the picture, this category of people will be impacted.
All right, so we're looking at cities all across the country. Which ones do you feel are actually most at risk, first off?
Well, most at risk will be cities with large concentration of administrative works, government jobs, things like that.
Makes
like
sense.
more people in white collar jobs, industry, financial sectors too.
So it sounds like, Tatiana, if we follow where there's a higher amount of white collar jobs, we actually could see this huge change in the housing market. Makes a lot of sense. But what should homeowners do right now to prevent that?
Well, there are two things I strongly recommend every homeowner to do and at least think about. First of all, get their finances in a row. Don't overspend. Make sure you have some, safety nest that you can use in case something unexpected happens. But more importantly, I truly believe that everyone should adapt to new technology, because people who are experts in their fields and know how to utilize AI and new technologies to benefit their jobs, they will be more secure. They are not going anywhere.
You are correct. Yeah, and you think about it, AI is not going to go anywhere. It is here. We need to deal with it now before the problem is sitting right on top of us. Great insight there, Tatiana. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, if you want to find out more, head over to where we buy homes in St. Louis.com. We'll also share this interview as well as a link to our website at dailyflashshow.com/FMI.
Well, here's something for Disney fans. Disneyland will close 2 iconic attractions over the summer. The monorail will be shuttered for the first time in more than 65 years. According to Inside the Magic, Disney announced that the monorail will be out of service for renovations. Word has it they are doing a full digital upgrade and plan to update the network's electrical system. And the park is also shutting down the Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin for renovations on the same day. The attraction, located in Mickey's Toontown, has been open since 1994. No reopening date has been announced yet for either attraction.
And that's got to be a big thing with the monorails, right? Because that's how they get everybody around. And it's amazing how that works with, I could see it needing a digital because it's all computerized. I think sometimes the guy in the front is just there for a break, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they can control them remotely. So.
Yeah, and that monorail, like you mentioned, at Disneyland, that's how you get around the entire park. Not so much here at Disney World because you have different options, but Disneyland for sure.
Can I say something too? They're now checking, so if you go to Disney Springs and take a bus to go somewhere else, you now have to show that you are, you have to show a pass at Disney World.
Do you really?
I think a lot of people were taking advantage of it. Or show that you're staying at a resort.
Yeah.
So that's a new rule that they've started. If you come down to Orlando and you're going to Disney Springs and want to take the bus.
That used to be a hack, now it's saved.
No mas.
Yeah. Well, you got to love this story. An 11-year-old boy in Wyoming made the kind of discovery most of us only see in museums. While rock hunting in Wyoming with his grandparents, he found a 48-million-year-old fossil. Turns out it's a soft-shelled turtle that once lived in an ancient tropical lake. The young discoverer helped with the excavation, got to name his find. He chose the name Little Timmy. Today, the fossil is on display at the Tate Geological Museum at Casper College. It serves as a reminder that sometimes incredible discoveries happen during everyday family outings, and most importantly, curiosity can lead to extraordinary finds.
All right, now, I want to say this kid is awesome. Right here, keep it up because he's not playing video games. He's not,
Right?
On his electric bike. He is rock hunting with his grandparents. That's love.
That's an old soul.
That's an old soul, and he's doing it because he wants to spend time. So right when you said that, I go, he must have been bored out of his mind. But no, he wasn't. He found something really, really cool.
I know.
So kids, spend time with your grandparents. I'm not a grandparent yet. So.
We're back right after this.
Welcome back to the Daily Flash. I'm James Alexander along with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Here's your question of the day. Would you rather be famous or completely unknown, and why? Guys, what you think?
Well, I want to be completely unknown. That's why I'm doing this show. And
This is true. But you made a good point during the commercial break, and that is sometimes you can be famous for really not so great stuff. So maybe it's not so great being famous.
Yeah, exactly.
In certain
you're
circles.
limited sometimes to what you're famous for.
Right.
So good stuff. And we want to hear from you, and they can drop us an email, of course, where they need to go, James.
Yeah, you can go to dailyflashshow.com for the email. They can sound off by going to dailyflashshow.com, and we'll have some fun.
All right,
I'm looking
James.
forward to it.
Thank you. We love to make you a big part of our show. Well, listen to this story. New York Governor Kathy Hochul spared a Long Island granddad's license plate from getting flushed down the toilet after the DMV tried to revoke his tags. The 69-year-old driver had sported the license plate P before we go. For more than 5 years, the owner received a letter saying the plates had to go.
Oh, man.
Well, the notice stated that a recent review found the message to be inappropriate for street use. The driver personally appealed to the governor for help. In the end, Hochul said New York should support his plates message, P before we go.
She wound up calling him directly and saying, "Hi, this is the governor." She
Really?
did, and said, "Sorry that this happened to you. You can keep the plates." He was very, very grateful that she listened.
Of all of the terrible things that seem to be happening in New York City. This is what they're concerned about?
I think it's funny. I do
too.
How you find that offensive? Everybody does it. Number
Yeah.
one, and it's something. I mean, if you're traveling through New York and you're playing the license plate game, you'd win double points with that.
You'd want to win with that one.
Yeah, I love
I
that.
mean, from killing squirrels to, canceling license plates. What is happening in New York?
And then they have a communist mayor.
Mayor, yeah.
It's crazy. Moving forward, a kindergarten teacher now facing some criticism after taking her young students on a field trip and tying them together with a rope, all to prevent them from getting lost. Well, those in favor actually argue that managing a large group of very young children in a busy public space, it actually could be a pretty big challenge. Some schools use walking ropes with handles as a safety tool during field trips. But critics claim that tying kids together crosses a line that raises concerns about safety and proper training. A lot of people question what policies the school had in place to protect students during their field trip. Something I'm sure it doesn't look as if these kids are like forced. It makes a lot of sense. One of the coolest things I saw is a stroller for like 6 kids. You ever seen one of those before?
Oh,
those are kind of fun. But come on, I mean, I can understand, if one of them fell down, but it looks like it was done properly.
I have no problem with
No.
this because, God forbid one of these kids ends up wandering off. Then what's worse, having them connected together or having them all kind of going in a million different directions like herding cats. I mean, it's a safety issue. I'd rather them be doing this than letting them go along the sidewalk on a busy street because that's what it looks like.
Yeah. The only issue I have about this is they should be pulling a wagon. I think that'd be kind of nice with all the food in it and everything.
Right.
Hey-ya! Somebody in the back. Come on now. Get on now.
Gracious.
Get on.
I have seen parents, with maybe one or 2 kids, or
on the
one kid
leash.
on a leash, which, look, I'm not a parent, so I can't tell you how to parent, but I get it for certain safety reasons. Maybe you've got a kid that's squirrely and you're trying to keep a hold of him and it's hard to. You'd rather be safe than sorry.
Those kids are cute though, man. Look at them.
They are
They're
adorable.
really
I
cute.
love the little one with the hat.
They all got those bucket hats on.
So cute. A plus-size model claims she was denied life insurance for weighing over 300 pounds.
Okay.
Now, she says the system is broken, accuses the company of being fat-phobic. Last fall, the model accused a flight attendant of telling her she should lose weight. Her claims were never verified.
All right, so I just went through some life insurance policies, and since I updated mine, since I did, I actually had lost weight, and I'm in a BMI. However, they'll send you back a thing. Hey, we quoted you this, but we had to go a little bit higher because they get some questions about your health and everything afterwards. And I was perplexed. Even my agent had no idea why they said that my height and weight was a factor because I typed it all in with my BMI and I'm like average with it. And he said sometimes that's how it happens. Life insurance policies have to do that. You're not healthy. I know you want everybody to think that you're healthy, but you're not. But with that much weight on, you're adding a lot. It's just as if you had, some kind of other disorder or disease or that sort of thing, which, you can't have it both ways. Is obesity a disorder? Is it a disease? Is it, what is it?
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways and then expect life insurance policies to be okay with it.
Well, and the same goes with flights. You can't
Flight, sure.
go on a flight and expect to take up 2 seats and then only be charged for, demand to be only charged for 1 and then lash out at the flight attendants for telling you that, look, you're going to need a seat extender. Her claims were never verified, but clearly, it looks like she's after money.
Or notoriety.
Notoriety,
as well.
yeah.
And I get it because I've been there. I've been just as big as this woman before, and I understand. But that's the facts of life.
Yeah.
And even back then, I realized that's.
And
the
you're
facts
right,
of life.
it's not healthy.
That's unhealthy. All right, we got more of today's Talk, tomorrow's trends. Anything you have heard us talk about, we want to hear your thoughts on it. Send us an email.
This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hi, everybody. Mitch English here.
Andrea Jackson, this is Daily Flash. Today's trends, tomorrow's talk. Before we do anything, let's check in with James Alexander. He's got his eye on our stations across the nation.
219 stations across this
baby.
country. And you can go to dailyflashshow.com and click on where to watch and find out where we are in your neck of the woods. Or you can go to the American Forces Network where you can see us globally. That's right. Globally.
Globally.
That's right. All right. So our local friend today
Yes.
comes all the way from Houston, Texas.
Houston.
Oh yeah, they growing big down in Houston,
They're huge.
Texas.
They're like the third biggest city, aren't they? That's
They
what I
are.
heard over
In
the
Texas.
weekend.
The largest city in Texas by population. I'm sorry, KVQT-TV in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
It's the largest city in Texas by population. It's home to the NASA's Johnson Space Center. And Houston has no zoning laws.
So you can
Yes.
build
So-
something?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
So
it
I
has-
know this because going there, you can have a house next to a tire shop, and it's very bizarre. I'm not quite sure I really like it, but they have zero zoning.
That was
Yeah.
weird to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
no zoning law.
All right.
Okay.
I'm glad you said Houston because the most popular line that we hear the name Houston in, Houston, we have a problem, right?
Yep.
Well, do you guys remember last year, NASA was coming out saying that there was an astronaut that had some problems. We don't want to tell you who it is or what it is, but we're dealing
Yes.
with it right now.
And they had to bring emergency return home.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, they recently came out and said, all right, well, here's what happened. We had an astronaut that had a major problem while he was on the International Space Station, and they still didn't name him. Well, the astronaut was Mike Fink. He has come down. He said, hey, it was me. Check this out. So while he was on the ISS, if you think about this, when you're up there 250 miles up in space, something bad happens. They have to figure it out.
Right.
He was going to go out to go do a spacewalk, right? So he's gearing up, and they go, all right, you ready to go? He could not talk. It wasn't his vocal things. He couldn't talk. Now, here's a guy who's been veteran. He's done several spacewalks before.
Oh my God.
Been up in this outer space for
Could not
many
talk.
times, right? They couldn't figure out what it was. For about 20 minutes, he was unable to speak, so they obviously, they handled all this stuff. They went and they brought him back down. They couldn't find out what was wrong with him at all. The bad part about it is that since he was about to take a spacewalk, they never go out alone. There was another female astronaut that was going to go on, which was her first time to go out.
She couldn't go.
So she couldn't go.
Oh.
So Mike Fink, this says a lot about these guys. He came down and he felt horrible. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to me. I feel fine now. I couldn't talk, and they can't figure out what he had. If he had a stroke, until this day they couldn't figure it out. So he's like on what they call like an apology tour. So everywhere they interview him, he goes, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for the astronaut. So much so that the director of NASA came out and said, listen, stop apologizing.
Yeah.
This is the stuff we need to know
Yeah.
and need to happen
Yeah.
Right.
because it teaches us. I want you guys to think about Apollo 13. How many things went wrong
On that one, yeah.
and what they learned from it, though,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
So he's saying, take it more like this, is that you taught us a lesson of what to do in the event that somebody has
Yeah.
an emergency like this. The guy's like, okay, I'll do it. So now and by the way, he's completely fine. They have no idea what happened to him. Do you think, though, with all this talk about living now on the moon and making a station there, because he's had a lot of time up in outer space.
I don't think a lot of people realize how much radiation that you get exposed to when you go to space,
point.
how much space junk is up there, different things that happen to your body. Just, with people being trapped in the space station, what's the senator, he and his
Mark
brother?
Kelly.
Mark
Mike-
Kelly,
Mike
how they
Kelly,
change,
yeah.
they
Mhm.
change,
He
your
shrunk.
eyes change,
Yeah.
your body changes when you're there because of gravity, right? You don't have the...
Yeah.
His brain went somewhere, and he
Right.
ran and he went into politics.
Right.
Yeah.
You see-
And I'm
you
not
see what
quite
he
sure
did.
he's, yeah.
Anyway,
But the
Like-
body changes dramatically. That's why they are talking about how, with us going to different stars
Yeah.
and different planets, how we would change
Yeah.
and how over generations it could possibly change how we are today.
That
So
makes
we look
sense.
much different than we will
Yeah.
when we get there.
I believe it.
It makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. What you think about that? Should we be up on the moon? Or should we head to Mars? Have you seen the movie Project Hail Mary? Because that kind of deals with it. Right?
Oh, and Artemis.
And
our
Artemis,
next
there's
mission to
another
the moon, which is so exciting. Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. We got more Flash coming up. Help My Home.
Yes, we're going to talk about those new epoxy floors everybody is seeing on their social feeds.
Stick
We're
around.
back right after this.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Daily Flash. Look, it's time for Help My Home. I'm Mitch English along with Andrea Jackson.
We've got some great DIY tips for your home, all about having the right tools that are easy to use. Here's DIY expert Kristen McGowan with more.
If you're doing any wall painting around your, you're buying the right
And what
weight
you do is you
capacity,
just
but
make a
wow,
pinhole, and then it
Yeah.
We're talking about
These things look great.
the hook. Yeah, these hooks. There's a J one where you can put it in, pull it up, and it has like a little hook you can do on that. That's what
I
was trying to
love that
explain, yeah.
idea. The epoxy floor trend is dominating social media
Oh, yeah.
feeds with reels featuring floors that look like they are straight out of a
These
storybook.
things are really cool. Here's one designer who is showing you the different ways you can actually create an epoxy floor with everything from swirls to roses to anime characters, believe it or not.
Pour bronze and black onto the floor of the following room using the same careful blending techniques as before. Let the resin harden fully, then polish carefully and place the furniture with style. The next floor takes on a vast ocean-inspired style, blending blue and white with a clear, glossy layer on top. The result is a calm, flowing atmosphere that makes the space feel peaceful, airy, and inviting. One of my most unique ideas is using real flowers. Pour clear resin over the floor after covering it completely with blooms. The room looks like a fairy tale come to life. Then I return to my favorite metallic style. Pour white and gold epoxy, using long, sweeping strokes to create elegant, flowing patterns that dance across the room. Add a layer of clear resin on top to give the entire floor a glossy finish. The floor makes the space feel more open, airy, and inviting. A cartoon character is created on the floor using sparkling, colorful stones. Once the design is complete, pour white resin over it and polish everything to achieve a perfect, flawless shine.
Around 9:20 a.m.
It's not news. It's not nonsense. It's that weird place in between. Opinion-ish. Coming soon.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
Now a little inspiration for the millions of procrastinators out there. Lifestyle editor Joanne Butler has more.
If you procrastinate, you're not alone. Studies suggest more than 70% of Americans say they habitually procrastinate on daily tasks, especially this time of year between spring cleaning, work assignments, and tax time. That's why tax prep company Jackson Hewitt has declared Thursday, April 2nd, National Get It Done Day. They say it's about turning procrastination, or what they like to call pro-taxination, into progress. With more than half of Americans admitting they spend more time worrying about tasks than actually doing them, April 2nd's Get It Done Day offers a simple solution. Pick one thing, get some help, finish it, and feel the difference, no matter what it is. And if it is taxes, they want to help by making it even easier to get them done and get you the biggest refund you deserve. Great news for the 62% that state having tax help would push them to do their taxes sooner. To find the nearest Jackson Hewitt office and book an appointment, check out jacksonhewitt.com.
All right, thank you there, Joanne. Let's move on with some trending news stories. McDonald's biggest burger has made it here in the United States. Now, this burger, it features, you ready? 2/4 pound beef patties, 3 slices of melted white cheddar cheese, crispy onions, slivered raw onions, lettuce, pickles, and a big arch sauce. Weighs in 14 ounces total compared to the 3.5 ounces of a standard burger. And with a big burger comes big calories. The new Big Arch burger, you've probably seen it already on the McDonald's sides. It clocks in at 1,000 calories. That's nearly the amount of a complete Big Mac meal. That includes a fries and a medium Coke. That comes in at 1,100 calories. I don't know if it's gonna catch on because like I was listing everything on it, it didn't play as a song, you know, like the Big Mac, 2 all-beef special patties, lettuce, sauce, cheese, onions on a sesame seed bun.
But yeah,
Didn't work.
Doesn't work as well.
No, so much.
I have reservations about these fast food joints coming up with bigger and more crazy concoctions because I think the trend right now is people are starting to step away from that a little bit, you know, and realizing that a lot of that stuff isn't so great for them.
I went to, I can't remember where, I want to say maybe Burger King, I don't know. It was when Liza was out of town, so it was a fast food restaurant. But I said I wanted a medium drink, thinking I'd be fine. They hand me this thing. I'm telling you, this darn thing was this big.
Crazy?
I go, that's the medium? She goes, yeah, you should see our large. And the lady showed up the large. I'm like, I go, all right. I never wind up finishing it, you know, because I got to do it before I get home.
Yeah, that is true. Well, if you look at movie theaters, for instance, if you go to the movie theater and you want a small popcorn, I don't know if they even offer small popcorn anymore. I mean, you've got to get the big tub of popcorn, and the drink is, you know, this big. It's huge. I mean, it's ridiculous.
The ratio doesn't match what you're saying.
Not at all.
Interesting thing about popcorn, when they first introduced it, it was a poor person's food. So like because when they had the movies, you dress up and be really nice, but they realized that the amount of markup that you can make on popcorn is
insane.
outrageous,
Yeah.
insane. And so they go, we can make a lot of money. And that's where movie theaters make their money, is in
The
those
concessions, very true. Well, doing homework in the future has a new look. A tech company has devised an AI homework agent named Einstein that will complete your homework assignments for you.
Wait.
The digital creation will log into a learning management program on the user's behalf. It watches lectures, it reads essays, writes papers, participates in discussions for you, even submits your homework, and no subject is off limits.
And then, so we're all worried about AI taking our jobs. We're taking them to college. We're giving them courses on how to do the job. Really, if you think about that.
I just think this is wrong on so many levels.
It's interesting that this did come up because a professor came out saying that they're getting smarter on knowing what is AI. And one of the words you can tell, outside of the dashes, the emphasis, if you see an emphasis dash a lot, that number one will tell you that it's AI. If they use the word moreover, and words like that, like nobody says that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But AI does, and so that's a flag. And then there's also ways where they can go, all right, you got your paper, I'm going to put it in here. Even my email right now says this looks like it was AI. It'll tell me it looks like it was AI.
Really?
Yeah. So I find that interesting. I mean, you're going to have one that's going to fight the other. And teachers are going to find ways to get around the way that you think that you're doing your job. And you're really just doing a disservice to yourself to have a computer do everything for you.
Well, I think there's always been ways to kind of shortcut learning. I mean, for us, it was Cliff Notes.
Yeah,
if you got the Cliff Notes. But this takes it beyond a whole different level. I mean, this is basically somebody sitting in for you as a student, and you're not learning a darn thing.
And I would say with the Cliff Notes, you're still reading it. And you have to, and to me, that's how my brain works, because I think if I had the Cliff Notes, or the Reader's Digest is what I always called it, version of something, it takes out all the stuff I really don't need to worry about, or maybe it doesn't think about that, but it'll give me the general idea. I'm more of a broad strokes guy, and I think with ADHD, that happens a lot.
Or sometimes if you get that, then at least you can understand the general premise of something, and then you can go back and read it and have a whole different experience.
All right, well, it started off as kind of a quirky offering from a funeral home, has actually blossomed into a full-blown trend in Japan. It's called coffin lying, okay? It's basically the practice of meditating inside of a coffin. It's giving people a safe place to contemplate their mortality or just recharge. Companies who are promoting their coffin lying services have said that this kind of meditation is useful for people who want to spend time alone. Yeah, you can do that and ease your nerves. All right, get this though. Customers will pay about $13 for a half hour. They can also choose between an open or closed casket. Have you ever been inside of a casket?
No,
I have.
no. Have you? And
it's scary, only because you know what it's used for, I guess, that sort of thing. And my friend, growing up, he was about, 6 years older than me, and he worked at a funeral home, and he would pick me up in the limousine all the time, which is kind of cool.
The hearse?
The hearse and the limousine. They picked me up, which everybody thought I had a limousine, which was kind of cool. But he had a casket, and it does freak you out. There is something about it. I think just because it's different than just laying in a box. And I would go into a cardboard box, and I had a problem with it.
I heard somebody tell the story about that phrase "Saved by the Bell." Have you ever heard that story?
Other than the TV show.
I don't know exactly if this is true or not, but I thought it was interesting. Where back in the day when people passed away, maybe they weren't all the way dead. They put them in the coffin, put them in the ground, and some of them would actually still be alive. So they decided to start giving people bells in case, for whatever reason, they woke up in the casket, they could ring the bell and get help and get,
All right, well, I'm putting one of those in mine.
Yeah.
Maybe not like a string on a bell, but maybe like some kind of button. Somewhere, hopefully with a battery that lasts a very, very long
Get
time.
one of those that sounds like the flight, the ding dong for the seatbelts.
Yeah, I'll open it up and a flight attendant will be there. Yes, can I help you?
Stay with us, we're back right after this.
From the biggest pop culture moments to the stories you'll be sending to the group chat, El Flash Latino brings the energy, the attitude, and the savor every single time.
Saludos a todos, yo soy Gisela Bouvier. Yo soy Fabián Marcano y le damos la bienvenida a The El Flash Latino.
With Fabian and Gisela serving up laughs, hot takes, and pure personality, you never know what they'll say next in whichever language comes out first.
Pero we're in Spanish. Yo soy Isis. There, from.
Jump into the show that celebrates culture, comedy, and all things Spanglish. El Flash Latino.
Find out what you need to binge watch this weekend. Jackson, what do you got for stream for the weekend?
This is one of my new favorites. My pick for the weekend is The Madison on Paramount Plus.
Mine is not a family designed to withstand tragedy.
The worry is what you do next.
I know you are hurting. We are all hurting.
I'm 65 years old. I have a very small window to feed this. Wanna go fishing?
I don't know how.
Neither do I. But men do it drunk. So
wow.
Another hit from Taylor Sheridan, who just continues to crank out one hit after the other. He is dialed in to the TV pulse of America.
He knows the formula for sure.
Yes.
And one of the things I love, as you look at this right here, is his DP, the director of
Oh.
photography. And I mean, first you got the landscape. All right, you got New York there, but it's out there in Montana.
Yeah,
right?
Montana.
It's unbelievable, which all his shows do just that.
And
Interesting
how
stuff.
great to see Kurt Russell. I love Kurt Russell. More and more every day, I love that guy.
He's, you know, you think about somebody who has been in the business since a child and that you
Yes.
never had, you know, you'd think he'd be some kind of drug addict
Yeah.
or whatever. Not
No.
the case at all. He actually just went out 43 years, I believe it is, he and Goldie Hawn have been together. Not married,
Yeah,
but together.
together.
All right, moving forward here, as we tell you, of course, if you're looking for some fun, some smart, weird, interesting hospital humor, maybe a little unhinged, got your next binge locked in at St. Dennis. It's streaming now on Peacock.
Push! Oh, welcome to Earth. Oh, you lucky little baby. You just plopped out into St. Dennis's new birthing center. If that was gross, leave it out.
All right, St. Dennis is a mockumentary about a chaotic hospital staff just trying to survive the day. It has Wendy McClendon McCovey, David Allen Greer, Allison Tolman as well. Fast, awkward, really funny. You can watch it on NBC, but also on Peacock.
That does it for us. Peek it, everybody.
Bye-bye, y'all.